Good morning, every person who loves martial arts, Kyokushin, K1, kickboxing, MMA, boxing. If you like that, make sure to hit the like, share, subscribe button on the Drew Sperians channel on YouTube, all audio platforms. And with that, I want to say thank you to a few supporters. First of all, KRT Tips and Tricks with Senseis Wesley Jensen and Darren Stringer. One Kyokushin, the #1 page of Kyokushin content, no matter the association, your belt level. They are spreading Kyokushin of how it should be. Martial Way blog and Real Talk and Ronin Dojo with Shian Terry Burkett and Scott Heaney. Please support their pages because they are also big players in helping grow the art of Kyokushin. And if you are in Quebec, si tu habites en Québec, I have to be bilingual here because I live in Quebec. Tu aimerais un bon dojo, je me recommande le Karaté Boucherville, le Karaté Joanne Fournier sous l'organisation Ikeo Nakamura, Chien-Pierre Catafort. L'équipe de Chien-Pierre avec comme Sensei Joanne vont prendre soin de vous si vous aimeriez interest dans les arts martiaux comme Kyokushin, etc. If you are looking to get into shape in Quebec and you want a great Kyokushin dojo, Kyokushin Boucherville and Karate Joanne Fournier, and the other dojos under Ikeo Nakamura will make sure you're taken care of to teach you proper Kyokushin, how it should be. I recommend them highly as they are a great organization if you love traditional martial arts. Lastly, if you're a pro MMA fighter up and coming, finding a good manager is hard. You want to make sure you're taken care of, and that's where Moments Management comes in, where Nima Safapour and his team will make sure that you are taken care of and understand the fight game before, during, and after, so you leave successful and wealthy. And with that, this is the Drew Sperians, the show that's 80% combat sports and 20% everything else. I'm your host, the handsome rambling Jew, Drew, aka the Hebrew Hammer, and with me today, I have a returnee. You know, I love it when guests say, hey, you know what? I want to come on again. And luckily, he came back on. He's a champion of Ring Wars. He represents Kyokushin-kan USA with pride and with the Star-Spangled Banner. He's the one. He's the only from Forge Dojo, Sensei Bob. Welcome back, Bob.
Thanks for having me, my man. The Hebrew Hammer. You love it. Did you know I was in college? I was actually a member of the only national Jewish fraternity.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Alpha Epsilon Pi. Only, like, I'm not Jewish, but all of my friends in college were. I'm like, we're already hanging out together. Might as well wear cool shirts. So.
Exactly. You know what's funny though about the college in the US though, like because in Canada it's much different. I mean, we watch the shows where we see, man, college looks so fun, like in the US, and then in Canada it's much different. It's not the same. I don't know, like they market it too good to make it too good to be true.
How's it different?
We don't have fraternities really. It's kind of like we have dorms. And where I live in Quebec, we have what's called CEGEP. So CEGEP is kind of like a junior community college, which you take after high school. So it's kind of like you're kind of taking preparatory courses to see if you want to get into university. It's a 2-year, sometimes they have a 3-year program that gets you into your career right away. Like they have like nursing, graphic design, international business, that radiology, that sort of stuff. So that's what CEGEP is. But they don't have dormitories for that. It's kind of like, you kind of like just go to class and and you go home. Like that's what it is.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like it's like I loved CEGEP. I hated university because I think in Canada, CEGEP is kind of like our college experience in a sense. And then when you go to university, yes, there's parties, but it's not the same. It's kind of like you're going to work basically. And that's why some people just hate university. They're like, it's like you're going to work without getting paid for it.
Yeah, that's the sticky wicket. Like, experience is good as long as it pays out in the end. So
exactly.
Sweet.
Exactly. So last time we spoke, it was April, lockdowns were still going on, but now things are like changing, everything's opening up now. Finally, we're
Although,
returning. There's some light at the end of the tunnel.
yeah.
So, right now, right now it's like they made the announcements that tournaments are slowly going to happen at the end of the year, beginning into next year. So what's it been like for you guys under Kyokushin-kan USA?
Oh, dude, it's actually, I think I mentioned in April, it's been really good. The just kind of finding the silver lining to this whole pandemic. I think especially Con USA, we've done a really good job, not just keeping everyone together, but actually growing. So I've gotten to train a lot more regularly with Sensei Lago from North Carolina. Was it 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, we had a branch chief instructor seminar out in Boulder, Colorado. Yeah, it's been really, really good. I commented on someone's Instagram page last night that I think in the past 2 or 3 years, especially since I joined Con, I've learned more and I've learned it at a deeper level than what I'd experienced in the past. So a lot of that's due to we're stuck at home or our dojos are closed or, there are these restrictions and we've just had to adapt. And, you can only sit around and train on your own so long before you open up a Zoom link and say, hey, you want to train together? It's kind of weird, but no, it's been, if you would have told me at the beginning of the lockdown that the organization would be in the place that it is now, I'd say you're full of crap. There's no way. But we're looking for Contra Royama will be giving a seminar in Costa Rica in March. So we got a tournament in April down in Florida. Yeah, it's busy. It's a good kind of busy. So
that's really good. No, that's awesome. And I saw pictures of the Kyokushin-kan branch chief seminar in Boulder because I had Xian Tom on and he was telling me about it. So I wanted to mention it too. And it looked like you guys had a blast. Like I saw you there. I saw Bernard. I saw Tom, obviously. There was and Sensei Ligo, you said from Carolina?
Yep. Yeah, Sensei Lago, Xian Tom, Bernard. We had a couple guys from Puerto Rico, Seattle, Sensei Keith from Seattle. It was Sensei Brown from North Carolina. It was like folks from all over the country just landed in, I swear, probably one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever trained in. Just beautiful weather. We're looking at this mountain. It was amazing. But yeah, Sensei Lago, Xian Tom, they did an awesome job just kind of splitting things up. And I probably need to tell both of them. One of the things that I think made that seminar so memorable is it wasn't just Shihan and Sensei, teaching. They gave other instructors, other branch chiefs, like sessions to lead. And so everyone had a little bit more ownership. We weren't just there to receive, but also there to give. And man, I'm still unpacking some of the things that we learned. So when I got back, I told my students in the dojo, I was like, good news, bad news. Good news, I just got back from a great instructor seminar. Bad news, I just got back from a great instructor seminar. Like, we're going to catch up on this learning curve together.
Oh boy. So there must have been so much, because think of it, you guys kind of, did lose a year because of the first lockdown and all that, because we were still figuring out like what was going to happen with this. And then, it's always a constant change with all that. But now it feels like with like everything reopening, so this learning curve is going to be pretty big probably because of the skills that are going to be applied and the theories that are going to be mentioned, right?
Exactly. My dojo, I don't know. I've a couple of my brown belts. I took 2 guys with me out to Colorado, and my dojo, we're in a unique, we have a unique blessed situation where Sensei Lago has family 20 minutes down the road from my house. And so we train, he comes up regularly and visits, and he comes and teaches at my dojo once a month. So I feel like we are uniquely positioned. Sensei gets the material from Japan, brings it to the US, gives it right to us. And so it's a lot, but I feel that alone is keeping our group, a little ahead of the curve. So it's still, gosh, it's overwhelming, but it's a good kind of overwhelming.
I totally understand. That's like, but at the end of the day, it's just so great to see that everything is finally happening again. Like, like I'm seeing like it's happening in Europe, it's happening in Canada, but now especially in the US. I mean, you are in Maryland and Virginia. Like, I had on your friend, shout out to a Kaizen MMA owner, Nima Mazzari.
Sensei Nima, he's the man. He's the legend.
When he came on my show, the stories he had, like I did not expect him to open up about like what he experienced in Iran. Like, and for everyone who wants to know, you can watch that interview. It's in my channel. So, and by the way, for those who want to know, Bob is the one that connected me and Nima. So Sensei Bob deserves a lot of credit. He's the one that put the word in. He's the one that told me about Nima. Then when I messaged Nima, Nima spoke to Bob. Bob spoke to Nima. Nima started speaking more to me, and then it happened. So I have to say, man, that was a big kudos to you that interview happened.
I don't know. He's one of the most successful and humble human beings I've ever met. So I wish I could get down there and train with him.
He said great things about you in the show too. Like when we at the end, like he was talking about you. He's like, he's like, I know Bob very well. He's like, I always wish him success. I love what he's doing at Forge. And then I also like, I just really love to see like how you and him are really, he might do more MMA now, because I think he's out of the Enshin Kyokushin scene. But I love like what I see him doing. Like he's getting all these like guys from around like the Central Asia. And he's got one guy coming up that I'm really paying attention to named Yunus, the Moroccan mauler. He's like the Rocket League, Rocket MMA champion. So shout out to Yunus. Like, like Yunus is such a cool guy, man. Like he should be coming on soon. That's something I can't confirm. So, but yeah, it's like he's doing such a good job for the amateur scene.
Yeah. He, I'll never forget, Sensei Nima, he hosted a seminar with Kancho Ninomiya. And it was maybe 2 weeks before I had a title fight, an amateur Muay Thai title fight. And, after the seminar, I walked up and it's like, you're more experienced at this than I am. Do you have any advice? And he's like, well, who are you fighting? And I gave him the guy's name. And he's like, just kick him in the legs. These guys hate getting kicked in the legs. I'm like, sounds simple enough. And yeah, I pretty much won that fight with leg kicks and knees to the body. He is a walking encyclopedia of fight game and history and training.
But you know what I really like about him? I mean, are you someone that reads a lot, Bob, where like, like Malcolm Gladwell, like David versus Goliath Outliers?
Oh, yeah.
I really believe, after reading David versus Goliath, about underdogs and then, like Outliers, Nima does fit like the character of what Malcolm Gladwell describes, because think of it. He competed he was basically David, in terms of
Yeah.
fighting the system to leave Iran in order to express his talents and his philosophy of martial arts. And, then he was an outlier because when he was in Iran, he was doing stuff that no one was doing. Like he would do Kyokushin, but then he'd also go to Taekwondo to pick up knowledge from them. He'd go to wrestling to pick up knowledge from them. Like, so he's a real, like, he was doing like MMA, but really before people did MMA. And that's what I think makes him an extremely important figure in the traditional martial arts scene. So Nima, if you ever watch this, because I'm sure I'm going to send the link to him. Nima, I just want you to know, like, Bob and I really respect you for what you've done, what you're continuing to do. But I want you to know that people should know that you are an important figure in martial arts.
Yeah, definitely.
Very, very, it was very cool to get to just hear a story. But now we're focused now back to you, so last time, you were competing somehow before the pandemic, the last Ring Wars tournament. And, then, we all gained COVID. We all had COVID, but I gained the COVID 30. Don't worry, I did not get the virus, but I got the virus of gaining weight because, you're sitting at home all day, you work from home, you're not moving. But now, since the reopening, so right now, look, I'm going to be honest, like, I want people to know, look, right now I weighed because I also had to move out too from my where I was living. So I'm living on my own now. This is my first apartment. Just so you can see. So gained weight from that too because of the move and the stress. You have to establish new routine. So I was weighing about 230 when I moved in, and now I'm down to 223.
Nice.
So so my goal is to get down to 195 by the end of the year. It's doable. Like I said, I'm going to get down to 185. Then I had relapses, but now I'm going to be more realistic. But 195 is the goal by the end of the year. And but I want to ask you, like, whatever weight you gained, what have you learned from like the quarantine and the lockdowns of like nutrition to stay in shape?
I don't know if you know, I used to be a huge fat ass.
Yeah, I remember.
Lost a ton of weight. Actually, I probably lost a couple pounds during COVID. I don't know if it came up last time we were talking. I actually went vegan. I went vegan and I stopped all alcohol. So like, I don't eat meat, I don't drink, I don't smoke. I exercise like it's my job. But yeah, the whole, I'm not advertising. I'm not the poster child for like vegetarian lifestyle. It was purely, I'm a science teacher. I'm a science guy. And I watched a documentary, Game Changers.
Yes.
Dude, I'm watching it as I'm doing my hour of burpees. And I was like, you know what? These high level athletes, really? I'll give it 30 days. And so I committed, I'll do this for 30 days. And 72 hours later, another documentary comes up. I like documentaries. Another one comes up talking about like inflammation and diets that are high in animal protein. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I paused it. I'm thinking, wait a minute. I had the worst tendonitis in my elbows probably for 2 years. Like I probably should have seen a doctor. It hurt that bad, but I knew if I paid to go see the doctor, they were going to say to rest, and I don't do that well. But yeah, watching completely knocked out animal products, 72 hours later, watching this other documentary, I'm like, holy shit. My elbows, all the itises are gone. So like, I don't know if it's the diet change, if it's coincidence, but I'm scared to death to eat a bacon cheeseburger right now because I don't want my joints to start hurting. But yeah, man, I don't know. That's been my big change. And my students in school, they'll offer me, hey, Miss B, you want a cookie? I'm like, no. I can eat Oreos. They're like, well, why can't you have a chocolate chip cookie? It's like, well, I don't eat meat or dairy. They're like, what? How are you so big? Like, I don't know. How are gorillas so big? All the biggest animals are vegetarian. See, I've been doing a lot of reading, because you have to. You can't just go vegan ignorant and cold turkey because you'll get sick. But yeah, a lot of my misconceptions have been kind of squashed. See, the whole vegan transition was I think that helped me not gain the COVID 30.
Yeah, as I call it, or COVID 40 for some. I mean, everyone experienced the gain differently.
What's funny is, like, every day I'll learn something new. Like, oh, that's vegan. I can have that. Great. I wish I could forget that. Oreos, vegan. Most Pop-Tarts, dude, I'm a sucker for strawberry Pop-Tarts.
Oh God, I know those Pop-Tart craze. I used to eat the hot fudge sundae one, the cookie dough one. You guys have it. We don't have it in Canada. We have to. I don't know what it is with you guys in Canada, but certain provinces in Canada, like Quebec, have like only the plain flavors. But if I go to Europe, in your country, I go to Plattsburgh, which is 45 minutes away from me. It's like all the flavors you see on TV. It's like, and then I bring it back, and then my fat ass gains like 30 pounds, like my 14-year-old fat ass gain. Mom, like, I love my mom. Like, mom, like my mom Marlene's gonna watch this. Like, Mom, I thank you for all the Pop-Tarts you gave me, you know, going to Plattsburgh back in the day when I was with my dad, because like my parents were divorced. But man, it was like I probably got like childhood diabetes from all those Pop-Tarts. Like, you should just buy all the hot fudge sundae cookie dough. Do you know what I'm talking to? Do you know how bad that is for kids?
Yep. Every time I've got a very strict, like, if I don't buy it, I'm not going to eat it. Unfortunately, I've got a 20-year-old son, a 17-year-old son, and a 14-year-old son. They buy this crap and bring it into the house. I'm like, who brought Pop-Tarts into the house? I'll bring in Oreo. I'm a sucker for Oreos, man. I'll go through those like a wood chipper.
Which ones? Regular or double cream filling? Which ones are you?
I've always been a go big or go home. Double stuffed.
Okay.
I also like the lemon ones. I'm a sucker for citrus.
Yeah, the citrus ones I've heard about.
It's I don't know. I don't, no meat, no smoking, no drinking. I figured coffee and Oreos, if that's my vice, there are worse things I could be doing.
Well, what I started to do too now, because when I was living in my old house, like, I think just for me, I couldn't, because it was a kosher household before. It's not to say it's bad. Like, I'm not trying to talk bad, but I just couldn't live under, you couldn't mix meat with cheese, the two sinks, so I was kind of restricted with what I could make, like, and then when I moved out, I started eating like the game meats, like, more bison, more horse. So I started doing that, caused a lot of, like, everyone was like, you're eating horse? Yeah. How do you like it? Do you feel guilty eating a horse? No. God put it on this. I always like to tell them, Hashem put some animals on this planet to be consumed by us humans so we could thrive and we could live. But I love it. I mean, when I tried bison and horse, I'm not going to lie. If I eat red meat, that's when I feel inflated, heavy. Like, if I eat a steak, I'm going to feel like this after it. I don't want to do anything. But when I eat bison or horse, I feel like I can still like perform and do well. It's like, I think it's one of the few meats that I can eat still. That's my staple.
I'd tell you, I've been reading a lot on like the rules for preparing food, like kosher and then halal, looking at kind of the religious point of view, but then tying it to the science. There's a lot of science that supports preparing your food halal or kosher, especially animals. Wait a minute, how did they know this like 2,000 years ago? So I don't know, it's similar with ideas that come from the East. It's like yoga is magic. They knew this thousands of years ago, but now we finally have the science to be like, hey, yoga is magic. Everyone in India is like, duh.
Yeah, exactly. Like Cameron Quinn's book, she and Cameron Quinn's The Budo Way of Master Oyama. That's another support book I should have mentioned at the beginning.
Yeah.
Everyone should buy that book. It does talk about the importance of doing Kyokushin with yoga. And now what we're seeing with certain Kyokushin teachers, they are bringing in very basic fundamentals of yoga for the stretching and mobility, which is amazing to see. That it's revolutionary.
Yeah. Yeah, I got big into yoga a few years ago. And so like the stretching, and I think more importantly, the breathing, because especially like in the West, we tend to breathe through our chest. And I joke with my teenagers, my younger students, that we don't like to breathe through our belly because it makes us look fat, even though it's the better way to breathe. And, you know, I have 5-year-old kids. Well, Sensei Bob, that's stupid. You should do what's better, not care what you look like. I'm like, you know this. I know this. Yeah, but actually, Shion Cameron Quinn, he's got a group that I'm part of. Just we're working together to. He's putting together an app to help us kind of explore Kyokushin at a deep level. And, so since then, you know, I've got his book. I've got actually both editions, and I'm walking around my classroom. The kids were taking a test this week. Walking around my classroom, and there's a section on like colors and meaning and chakras. And chakras, that's another thing. You know, 20 years ago, it sounds like sorcery or something. Now I'm like, we have science that kind of supports it. But I'm flipping through. I don't know if you've heard of it's on Netflix, Squid Game.
Yeah, everyone's talking. I haven't even watched it, but everyone says you have to watch this show. They say you have to watch it. Don't watch the dubbed version. Watch it in subtitles. Like, is it that good,
dude? So another one I like with a couple of my boys, my sons, Alice in Borderland. I don't think it's Alice in Borderland level, but it's pretty good. So I'm walking around, I'm flipping through the book, and I get to that section on chakras, and at the bottom of the page, there's a symbol that matches with 3 of the chakras, but it's a symbol that matches exactly with a very prominent symbol in Squid Game. So I'm walking around like, holy crap. I grabbed the closest middle schooler and I'm like, does this look familiar? And they're like, that's Squid Game. I'm like, it's totally not. So I'm using Shion Cameron's book to kind of recruit for my dojo because they think Kyokushin and Squid Game are somehow related.
That's amazing.
Whatever works, man.
Exactly. What I also loved too about his book was how he explained the belt level. Because when I got into Kyokushin, I just wanted to collect the belts for aesthetics. So I had a post where, like, I'm just gonna bring it up here. I'm not gonna share my screen. I'm just gonna read it aloud because I have it here.
I made a note about it because I wanted to talk to you about that.
Yeah, of course. So I'm gonna explain to you what happened with that. Like, that's another discussion that we're gonna have. It's gonna be a detailed one here. Gosh, I hate my technology when it's this slow sometimes. Speaking of internet being bad, okay, so let me see what I posted here. I have it here. So it was about a few weeks ago where I said I can't confirm I will be returning to Kyokushin in 2022 as a white belt, not my green belt, because when I last competed and got it, I was a green belt. I rather represent the art properly and relearn everything properly for Budo, not belt. This was a personal decision, as when I got into Kyokushin in 2016 to 2019, I had the wrong reasons. I had bad habits, and being away from the art for 2 whole years has made me realize a lot about what I aim for and why. Kill that ego and come in reborn. So that's my goal. And after reading Cameron's book and then, you know, deciding to come back in 2022, look, I am a green belt, but there's a lot of habits I had that were mainly an orange belt and white belt level. That's the problem, because my first school, we didn't match. It just wasn't a good match. So I just felt like I wanted to come in as a white belt, but earn my orange belt first again, but then re-earn all the other ones properly. So yeah, that was the intention of it. But it did cause a bit of a stir where people were like messaging me. They were commenting, as you saw. So yeah, that's what do you want to say? What do you want to share?
It's a belt.
Yeah.
The only thing that I guess as an instructor, and I've heard other instructors um, share similar ideas, is like when you for you when you test for green and your instructor says that you have earned that green belt, to go back and say I'm a white belt again, it might reflect, I don't know. See, this is where it comes down to the individual instructor. Like for me, if one of my guys came back after a few years out of the area or out of the dojo, and they were just like, hey, I want to start as a white belt again. Okay. I have no problem with that. But I can see how some folks will get their panties in a bunch and, well, your green belt is a reflection on me as your instructor. Like, I don't buy that crap. Your green belt or your white belt is a reflection of you. So
It's very true, but you have to understand too, my green belt exam was given by a white belt. That's how, like, I'm not trying to say anything bad about my first school. It was just a very disorganized, there's a lot of disorganization without saying who or where really. And it's just like, I just felt like, okay, I got it. But I felt like when I come back, I want to make it, I want to return in the proper way. As someone who's a content creator for Kyokushin, I have to represent it's on me. Like, I want to represent myself properly. Whoever I join in 2022, I want to make sure I represent them accordingly and properly, because I am my best advocate. I have to show that, you are like that. I have to do this a proper way. But yeah, it's just a belt at the end of the day. Some people, I've seen it happen. They come in, they get one or two belts. They think that the path to black belt is easy. Listen, the path to black belt is not what you see. Like, it takes years. Like, if you're exceptional, maybe 3 years. Let's just be real. But we're looking at 5 years, maybe 6 years, because when you hit that level, you have to, like, I always like to say, from white belt to yellow belt, it's kind of like, okay, you know what? Let's see what you can do. But if you're not putting your techniques and fundamentals together properly by yellow belt, you're going to have a big learning curve to get to green.
Yep. This is true. I mean, it all starts with that foundation and the hard work, a consistent amount of time of hard work. I don't know how it is in Canada. I remember Shion Tom commented, might have been on your podcast a while ago, why hasn't Kyokushin taken off in the US like it has in Europe? Americans are soft. I said it. Yeah, it's the exception. So I think 4 or 5 years for a black belt is probably average. I've had let's see, in 17 years, I've had 2 teenagers get their black belt in about 3.5.
But that's because, like, that there's a lot of exceptions to that, because they're coming consistently. Like, they're not just coming to put the hours in. Like, they're coming because the one way I look at it is, like, for example, so my coach Mohammed, like, whenever he comes on, by the way, like, because he had, like, it is in the works, like, he will come on. Mo has been doing karate since he was 5. He got his black belt at 12, which is unheard of.
He's a beast.
And then he got his knee dan at 19, which is unheard of. It's very, very rare. Like, I have spoken with I've spoken with some of the brightest minds in Kyokushin in Canada off the record about that. And, like, I'm not going to say who, but they did say, like, that they understand Mo's grading. They said it's extremely rare that what Mo did, because to get a knee down at, like, 17, actually. So yeah, 17. He got it at 17. That's almost unheard of in Canada.
Wow. Yeah, I think it's probably unheard of most places. But it's a testament to his dedication and his, like, years of work. Those two students of mine, I always love it when students get their black belt faster than I did. I don't know. That one is a blessing. One of the guys is in med school right now. He's always had this drive, like, good enough isn't good enough. And when he was training with us, I say all the time, if you come to every class in the dojo, or every class in the dojo that we have each week, you'll improve. You'll earn a black belt one day. But if you're not doing stuff outside of the dojo, and those two, Austin and Leanne, God, they just put the work in, man. And it's, for me at that time, they were both high school students, and being a public school teacher, and just in the States, kind of some of the stereotypes about teenagers being lazy and self-centered, to have those two as just very vivid examples of, nope, not all teenagers are like that. Not all karateka are like that.
No.
I carry those two in my mind all the time as just example. And I talk about them to the younger group.
You have to use them. You have to use them as like a syllabus example. Another one too, I'll say, is Muhammad's brother, Ashmi. Ashmi did not, didn't become like, he didn't go on the same path as Mo, where Mo was going worldwide and all that. But Ashmi is now successful because of Kyokushin. He became a phys ed teacher. He's got his own little, so shout out to Ashmi. So Ashmi, like Chico boxing, Ashmi's done such a good job. Like, that family, the Chick family, I love them. They're like my family. They're my adopted family. Like, my mom calls like Mo her adopted son, because like when he was the one that helped me with my move. Like, he came to help me with my move. And shout out to Mo and his new brand, Chick Fighting Fitness, that he's launched. You saw. It's really good. Like, I love it. That's the thing about Kyokushin. Like, you can't assume people in North America are like soft or lazy, because there are the few that are very hard, and they take Kyokushin and put that into other projects of their life, which is amazing. Also, we have another guy, Julian. He's under the Kyokushin-kan banner too, with Julie Lamar. He just recently launched a shoe drive to help impoverished kids in Montreal like get shoes, and he credits Kyokushin for that, with that drive to keep pushing your limits. You don't just push it in the dojo, but how are you pushing it? And when I spoke with, whether it's Xian Tom, Xian Pierre Cataford, it's not about what you do in the dojo. I'm going to paraphrase what Pierre said here. You have to think like the Japanese, because he's like, I've been to Japan 36 times. And you know what I see when I go there? They're not just pushing it in the dojo, but it's how they're doing it in their careers. How are they doing it at home to be better people? That is what Kyokushin is, the ultimate truth. How much can you push the envelope for your potential?
Yep. I have nothing to add. I would just repeat anything that you just said.
Well, you listen, it's just like, that's the thing about this martial art. And I think what I love about it now is because of like, I think now we're seeing with karate combat, being a thing. I mean, I like it, but I don't like it, because they are letting the Kyokushin guys in, but they're handicapping them. They're handicapping them severely. And that's the thing, because when I spoke with there was a guy that worked with Bellator, and he was working with karate combat, named Corey. I think his name was Corey. He used to work with Strike Force. He was one of my former guests. I can't remember his last name, but he was on my show in March. I said, why are there no Kyokushin guys in karate combat? And he said, we're working on it. He said he gave me the answer like that I wanted to hear, that basically, but then it happened. But they're saying you can't do this, you can't do that. It's like they know that if they let the Kyokushin guys do what they want.
Give us leg kicks. If you give Kyokushin guys leg kicks, we're going to win every time.
It's going to be like when the Dagestanis invaded MMA. We are the Dagestanis of Kyokushin, basically, the Dagestan of karate, because they know, all the styles know, whether you're Shotokan, Wado Ryu, Shito Ryu. I'm not saying anything bad about them. I respect anybody that does karate, but I understand why they look down on us as like the new kid on the block, because we've only been around for 57 years.
Yeah, we're still like we're the redheaded stepchild. But I don't know, proof is in the pudding. We've in 57 years, I comment again, another Instagram post I commented on. It was just a picture of Sosai, and I was thinking, like, how many millions of lives are better because of his philosophy with karate? Like, it's not just the people who've trained Kyokushin, it's everyone who's connected to that person. And it just, I don't know, talk about a legacy, man. I wish he could see, you know, aside from all the politics and the splits and every individual, I firmly believe every individual who takes one class in a Kyokushin dojo is immediately and for the rest of their lives a little bit better of a person.
They are. I totally agree. And you know what? Like, but I think we kind of saw, let's put politics aside here. I think when when, you know, rest in peace to Hanshi Steve Arniel,
Yeah.
when he passed away, we saw everybody come together. Even IKO 1,
Yep.
which I never thought would happen. IKO 1 was acknowledging Hanshi Arniel's passing. So it was like for that one day in July, as sad as it was that we lost, not only like Sosai's adopted child, but we
Yep.
lost someone that changed the lives of thousands,
Yep.
maybe millions in Europe and Asia, and he probably doesn't even realize it. Everyone came together with their stories of Hanshi Arniel, Royama, your organization, and it was so nice to see everyone just coming together.
That really was, and it's a shame that it takes things like the passing of a legend or a global pandemic to bring us all together. But that's when we just have to capture those moments and hold on to them and do as, I guess, at an individual level. It's my responsibility to take that feeling and carry it as long as possible, so that hopefully, you know, it's not every tragedy that we come together, but over time it becomes, it's just what we do.
I mean, I think like, well, I mean, look, as it was one track. I think there's two track. I mean, the pandemic, that one is it's very split on how we came together.
Mm-hmm.
I think the two tragedies in human history that is in my era, that as long as I've been alive, that we've seen come together was 9/11. And then, you know, the passing of Steve Arniel, because like, especially 9/11, like it didn't matter that day if you were Democrat, Republican, Muslim, Chinese, Jewish, Christian, etc., gay, straight, bi, trans, whatever. Like it was like, listen, it's like we just got attacked. You don't know what's going on. Like I remember when that happened. Like I mean, you're a public school teacher, so today it's different with how they tell kids stuff. Like kids, because you know we have like, you know, like the proper. But back then, because I'm an early millennial. I'm born in 1991, so I'm gonna tell you. So this is like for those who want to know how 9/11 happened for me. So September 11th, you know, I'm about 9 years old. I turned 30 in November, so I'm 9 years old then. So my teacher comes into the classroom. She's like, "Hey, so this is what happened on the news today. We're talking about what's hijacked. Does anyone know what hijacked is?" Like, how do you ask a 9-year-old kid what hijacked is? So the teacher tells us it's when someone takes over a car or anything and they start controlling it. Substitute principal we had comes into the class, says, "Hey, Andrew, we need you in the office." So she takes a deep breath and she's like, "We know your father works in New Jersey and New York. You know, your dad had a meeting today that was by the World Trade Center. We have no idea if he made it or where he is. We have tried calling him, but he is, we have no way of knowing. Your stepmother doesn't know. Your mother doesn't know. You're going to be leaving home to go home until you find out something from either of them." So I got to leave early. And then, like, I got to watch what's going on. So, like, you know, imagine telling this to a 9-year-old that, like, you know, your dad might have died. Like, they were saying your dad, then, like, so that's what happened. And then, like, I find out, like, 2 days later. So, a day later, actually, I think it was 2 days later. Like, this is where kind of, like, my memory kind of gets foggy with it. But it was at least 2 days later, I'll say, where, like, we found out that my dad did make it. He wasn't in the World Trade Center. He was supposed to have a meeting 2 blocks away, but by chance they moved it to 5 blocks away. And then he said, like, what happened was the whole cell phone network was like shut down because everyone was trying to call each other. So that's what happened. And yeah, it was like,
for that day.
Oh God.
So this is weird because my father-in-law at that time was stationed, his duty station with the Marine Corps. He was at the Pentagon.
Wow.
On the side that was hit. And he was supposed to be in his office. But by coincidence, he had a meeting in Crystal City that morning.
That's nuts.
I'm like, I remember that because at that time I was teaching in an autism program, actually one of the top autism programs in the country. And the director comes in, and I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, you never come in here. She's like, Bob, I need to talk to you in the hall. I'm like, so immediately I'm like, oh God, what did I do? What did I say?
Oh God.
I don't talk politics at work. Like, what did I do? She's like, she just said, your father-in-law works at the Pentagon. I said, yeah, you need to go call home right now. I'm like, oh, okay. I had no idea what was going on. Back then, I think I had like the Nokia brick phone.
Yes, I remember those ones. My dad had that too.
Oh gosh. So just like couldn't get a call through. I think the whole East Coast, especially, the network was just flooded. But yeah, the through the fear and the panic, just for that brief moment, how everyone seemed to come together was something special.
It was amazing. Like I remember, like there was even one of the there was a UFC event 2 weeks after where it was it was deemed the worst card in history because of like all the pyro shows back then. But the one thing I loved about it was how everyone did come together on that card. Like it was the Tito Ortiz. It should have been Vitor Belfort, but Vitor broke his hand. So then they put in Vladimir Matyushenko.
Mm-hmm.
And they had like Chuck Liddell versus what's his name? I'm drawing a blank. It's Murillo Bustamante. It was like, and it was like when Chuck was coming up, crazy card, and then Tito came out with like the American flag on his back, and like it like united. I think sports united everybody.
Yeah.
It wasn't the politicians. It wasn't like the entertainers, like actors or singers. Maybe they did play a role, but you know what? Like I think it was more the athletes that brought everybody together. Whether it was mixed martial arts, football, Mark Messier of the Rangers. That's when I became a Rangers fan.
Wow.
Like I wasn't into hockey back then, but I kind of always liked New York because I used to visit my dad there. And, since, like there's a lot of, there's a big Jewish community there, and I kind of talk like I'm a Jew from New York sometimes, according to people. I embrace it. So and you just see Mark Messier wearing that firefighter's helmet. That was like an iconic image. And I still get chills talking about it when I see that photo. Like you just see Mark wearing the FDNY. And then you see with MMA, like, Chuck, Tito, just trying to bring a whole nation together. It was as dark as it was. I would say 2001 had it had a dark epilogue. It had a dark epilogue, but with that dark epilogue, there was a lot of light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, I think it's amazing you bring up sport because unlike, we go to movies to escape. Like the new 007 movie.
Yeah.
You're not part of the movie. You're experiencing the story. But the beautiful thing about sports, and the reason I think football stadiums are packed and ice hockey rinks are packed, is it's one of the few places and experiences where you're actually part of it. Like you feel like you're supporting the team or you're supporting a player actually has an effect. And to have the athletes respond the way they did. I remember when Tito came out with that American flag, and I think, didn't he come out to no, this was before he started coming out to that Eminem song.
It was the Limp Bizkit song. I know which one it is.
That's right. But yeah, they're doing it. Us as the spectators, we already feel like we're part of the team or part of the fight camp, supporters, and they're bringing us into kind of their reflection of the whole moment. I don't know. Actors, I don't really care about actors' perspectives on anything or art or music, artists or anything like that.
Oh, there's the cat.
Athletes have, this is my crazy cat. Athletes have power. just because they're one of the few fields that draw you into the experience, not draw you into watch the experience. So yeah, Messier with that firefighter hat. I'd never watched hockey before, but I saw that clip on sport. I used to wake up early and watch Sports Center. I saw that clip on Sports Center the next morning. I'm like, maybe I'll give this hockey thing a chance. But I'm a Caps fan.
It's okay. I mean, I'm a fighter guy. I look, for me, it's MMA first, then hockey, then American football, and then basketball. But I'm slowly getting into it. You know, I try to vary it up, like, you know, like an investment portfolio. You have like 25%.
Diversify.
25% of my intention is invested in MMA. No, it's 50% in MMA and combat sports, 25% hockey. Then it's 15% football and 15% basketball. So it's kind of like an index fund of like diversification, to put it that way. Speaking of movies, you know which movie, Kate? I know you said you're gonna watch Inglourious. Another one that I was watching recently that is like, I still think it's one of the best movies of all time, no matter what, is Heat.
Is that Brad Pitt or Val Kilmer?
No, it's Robert De Niro and Al Pacino and Val Kilmer.
That's the long one. That's like a 3-hour movie. Yeah. That pops up as I'm scrolling through the channel. It seems like it's on every weekend. I look at my watch. I'm like, God, it's 10:30. I can't stay up till 2 watching the movie. Now that is a good one though. Anytime you get living legends like that together in a film, I like kind of along those lines. Have you seen The Departed?
I've seen parts of it, but I know it's on Netflix, and it's on my list actually, because after watching Heat, I'm like, well, I'm going through a whole like obsession right now of all the crime films. I don't know what it is, but I love crime films, like because of Michael Francis, the former mobster that, like, you know, talks about the mob life, and yeah, that's why. But Departed, that was with Jack Nicholson, right?
Departed is Jack Nicholson. Was it Leo DiCaprio?
Matt Damon.
And Mark Wahlberg. That dude he's come a long way since Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch when I was in high school.
You know, he almost went to jail, right? Because he beat up that's the thing too. Like, he really could have ended up on the wrong side of history for what he did.
And then you got guys like Robert Downey Jr., who was on the wrong side. And then he turns into the face of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I know.
Too many Marvel films. There's too many Marvel films. I'm being like, look, I love Marvel. Yep. I can't, like, I'm just saying this, I can't keep up anymore. Like, when I was watching the 007 film yesterday, there's like 3 trailers for 3 Marvel films that it's like, I'm like, what is, it's like Eternals, the new Spider-Man, and then like this film is like the Shang-Chi. It's like, man, I can't keep up. Just like, I always tell people, let me know when the new Blade remake comes out. I'm just waiting for that. Okay, just let me know when that comes out.
Facts. I love vampire movies.
The first Blade
movies. I like vampire movies.
The first Blade. The second one, and the third one. First one was ahead of its time. It still is ahead of its time. I still watch every morning before going to the gym. Like, I always watch that like beginning scene of the Rave Club where like Blade appears. Oh
yeah. Oh my God. And the blood starts dripping down.
Yeah. And it's like Blade appears, and it's like, and the vampire's like, it's the Daywalker. It's the Daywalker. And then he just takes out his shotgun and starts shooting up the place. I'm telling you, man, Blade 1, like, for anyone like that's gonna watch this interview, like, listen, here's what you're gonna add to your list, okay? You're gonna add Blade 1, you're gonna add No Time to Die, but if you're not a James Bond fan, at least just watch a few of the old ones to understand what James Bond is. Watch Heat and The Departed if you're a good crime film, if you like legends. But yeah, that's but Blade 1. Please, everybody, if you love martial arts, just add that to your list. Wesley Snipes is a legit martial artist.
Yeah, he is.
You know, he almost fought Joe Rogan.
I would today pay to see that fight.
It was supposed to happen in 2007 with his tax problems. Like, they were apparently there was like Joe talks about it where, like, because Joseph Valtellini from Glory Kickboxing, I said, weren't you supposed to fight Wesley Snipes? And Joe's like, there were talks about it, but it was just to like get Wesley money to like pay for his tax evasion issues. And then he didn't go through, but it was that I would have paid to see it.
Yep. Hey, can we pause just for a minute?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Take your time. Bob just has to go get something, guys. Don't worry. It's okay. Just give me one moment, too. Just got to get something, too. So don't worry.
Whoa.
How many cats do you have?
Just 2.
Okay.
I've got the crazy one, and then I have a broken one.
Oh God, yeah. Pets are cool. Pets are cool. I want to get a boxer. I mean, when I get a dog, like I go with that theory, you got to buy a dog based on your personality. So for me, it's a boxer because it's like boxers are kind of like unsure of themselves, and then once they get that confidence, they're like it's like a straight hour. They're like they're ready to go.
Well, they are also. They keep that puppy mentality their whole life. It's like you'll have a 14-year-old. I mean, it's rare to get a 14-year-old. You'll have an older boxer that acts like he's a 6-month-old and doesn't see anything wrong with it. It's fascinating. Fascinating.
It really is. So let me ask you, with the tournaments coming back now, are you planning to maybe like help out like with like the upcoming tournaments? Like I don't know about competing because I know you kind of said you are retired, so to say, but certain.
Don't tell my wife. I want to fight again.
Well, I'm not saying anything. Don't worry. But,
actually, no. There's the Battle of the Boardwalk in Atlantic City, end of January, and here's where you know the lockdown has affected people. I sent that out last week to my dojo, saying, "Hey, who's interested? I'm going. We'll train for it. I'll corner you. Who's interested?" And I got an 80%. I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. One of my guys is like, "How young does it go? I want my son to do it."
Wow.
He's 9. But if we can find other 9-year-olds who want to throw hands, we'll do it.
Who heads that? Who heads that tournament, Battle of the Boardwalk?
Man, I don't know.
It's not Renee because Renee does Ring Wars. That's a fact.
Is it IFK?
I think it's Dan Cost. I think so. It might be a IFK. I think it's Dan David or whatever his name is. I don't know. Like I've lost count of who's who. Like I mean, it's too many people. My bandwidth can't remember all these names.
Battle of the Boardwalk, Kyokushin. I can't remember. I want to say it's IFK. It doesn't matter. I got guys who are going to go out there and fight anybody from any organization.
I think everybody's just ready to return. Like, I know like other organizations like are stories slowly starting to announce tournaments, and it's going to be good again. I mean, it's going to be great. I mean, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I mean, who knows? I mean, one of my plans is to eventually kind of want to do what I want to do is do commentating work, maybe like do live streaming, since like I'm a content creator for Kyokushin, kind of be like that DC Joe Rogan maybe for like the tournament, kind of give that, because I mean I have a role to play, and I mean that goes with like KRT, Marshall Way, Real Talk with Terry, and One Kyokushin. Like we all have a role. And that's where like we want to elevate the art, because let's be honest, it's nice to see Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's community. It's nice, but let's be real. We have a very big community too.
I think we do. And I think that's where COVID helped us see that. Like it's not just Forge Dojo and, Sensei Nima's group down in Virginia and Shiantam and IFK up in New York. Like we're all connected. So yeah, it's I think everybody's chomping at the bit to get back to like official normal. I was really hoping that the IFK event, because they usually have the what is it, the All American Open in Rochester. They usually have that this time of year. Either I missed the email or they're not doing it. So Battle of the Boardwalk will be the first kind of big one that we get to attend. And then I think spring 2022, we're going to see a lot more opportunities. But it's at those events, man. It's at those events where you like step on the mat, you battle it out, and right afterward, I mean, you're not best friends, but you'll go out for a beer. You'll go out to dinner with the guy that either you just beat or who just beat you. And it's not like, that's how the community's built. And I think that's where jiu-jitsu's capitalized on that. I think Kyokushin needs to capitalize on it more, because it's that mentality of like the strongest bonds between people are always forged in hardship.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, that's why you look at Kyokushin dojos. Like my adult class especially, I don't like to call them my students. Just like, we train together. I happen to be the one who like pays the bills and plans the instruction and plans the training, but like they're my brothers and sisters. And
Same here. Like, I mean, I don't think like the question. I always love when people say, "What would you be without Kyokushin?" And like, answers you get are, "I'd probably be dead. I'd probably be obese. I'd probably be in jail. I'd probably be doing this." And then like, I love Shia and Cameron Quinn when they asked him that. They're like, Patrick Pinto, I think, asked him, Sensei Pat from Kyokushin Shuffle, another amazing show everyone should follow, from Australia. So, and they said, what would life be like for you without Kyokushin? And Cameron gave the best answer. He's like, and he says, I don't know how to answer that. And that's a deep answer in itself. Cause it's like, it does look, I don't think I'd be where I am without it. I mean, I could tell you, I mean, it's gonna, like, you know, one day, like I'll open up, like, you know, in detail about all the shenanigans I went through, like, before and during, and, you know, but Kyokushin did save me. I mean, like, I have a network of friends now that, like, I can count on, that I didn't think I get. And that's where I think Kyokushin deserves to have that credit.
Yeah, I mean, you stick with it long enough, it just, like Shion Cameron said, you stick with it long enough, it becomes part of your DNA. And it's not something you do, it's a part of who you are. And so to remove that, might I be dead? I don't know. Could I be obese? Maybe. I know one thing, I would definitely be lonely.
That's the thing. That's one thing. I'm going to say this. Before I did Kyokushin, I was very lonely.
Yeah.
But before, but then, and even during a bit, the early parts too, because I didn't really know what I was doing, and, you know, I didn't know who's who. But when I started doing this show, and then I started, like, I mean, I never would have thought, like, I'm talking to people from Europe now. I'm talking, like, and even though we're on the other side of the pond, or I'm talking to you across the border, like, my life is more enriched because of that, the art and the community. That's what's changed for me. And it doesn't matter if you're on the spectrum, if you're gay, straight, trans, bi, gay. Like, look, I'm on the autism. Like, I'm on. Like, I say it proudly, and I'm not trying to say it for victim mentality. I'm just saying, like, I'm on. Like for everyone who knows, yes, I am mildly on the autism spectrum. I have what's called pervasive developmental delay, not otherwise specified. Yes, I did struggle socially. Yes, I was bullied. I know what it's like to be marginalized. I know what it's like to be called a retard every day. I know what it's like to be told you'll never get a girlfriend because girls don't date retarded people. Girls don't like mentally challenged people. I've heard it all. I've had people use me because they used my flaw. But you know what? At the end of the day, I can say now that I'm more empowered because of the people I've met in Kyokushin. And at the end of the day, they don't judge me for what I have. They're not my friend because they feel bad for me. They like me because I have good values, and it's about the values.
Yeah. So like that background that you're coming out of, to have that experience where people are saying those god awful things to you, and then walk into a Kyokushin dojo and realize nobody gives a shit about all that. You're here. Oh, you're here. You going to train? Okay. I don't care if you have a horn growing out of your forehead, or if you have wings or a tail. You want to come train with us? Awesome. Because not everybody has the guts to try.
Exactly. Like, it's so true. Like, for example, like the thing is too, like when you're very lonely, because like the thing is, I'm not trying to bash anyone here or this, but like, like I never really, because like the thing is, like in Canada, like the thing is, like I don't know how it is in the US with the Jewish community, but in Canada it can be very cliquey. And I just never really fit in, even if I never went to, like, say, the Jewish school. I went on trips to Israel, but I never felt like I really fit in with any of the groups, really. I do have some, like, Jewish friends that I went to camp with that I still keep in touch with, but it's kind of like, it's like, I'm kind of like always like, I mean, like, I know, like, everyone's going to say, you can't judge everyone, but you know what? It's just my experiences are different from yours. And, I just fit in with, like, other people from other walks of life. Like my coach and friend Mo, who's like Muslim. Like, I mean, I get along so well with the Muslim community, and like I want to show, like, the media, as we always talk to, like, I'm not trying to be political here, but the media wants to show, like, take for example the Israel-Palestine conflict. People say, you got to be careful with your coach because he's Muslim, he's going to show his true colors. At the end of the day, I don't care about that. Yeah. I live in Canada. We live in Canada. We don't live all in that part of the world. Like, you know what? Why should we let a foreign conflict determine the narrative we have of others? I'm not friends with Mo. Like, I'm friends with Mo because we like Kyokushin. We share the same values as people. Yeah. That's what it is. And I think that's what Kyokushin aims to do. It bridges. It doesn't matter. No one cares. No one cares. Like, you got to...
That comment, watch out, he'll show his true colors. What an arrogant statement. Like, you're assuming that Mo is putting up a facade, or he's acting a character. And from what I've seen about the man, he seems pretty damn genuine to me. So the whole, I don't know.
I've heard it all, and I just
divide, and
I block it out, and I cut those people out. They're big. Okay, you want to think that? Okay, go on with your life. Good luck. Don't talk to me again. Don't ask favors from me. You live your life. I live mine. I stay in my lane. You stay in yours. That's how I do it now. And because you know what? At the end of the day, like it's like like, as I said, like if it's like, if it wasn't for him, I mean, I give myself credit too, but like, he also played a very big role in helping me get out of the rut I was in back in 2018. Because if you saw how I looked in 2018, I was 179. I did lose a lot of weight, but I wasn't happy on the inside. On the outside, I looked good. I looked healthy, but I was very miserable on the inside. And I had to really come to grips with that. And there's a lot of things I had to do. Like, I had to really do a lot of self-reflection. It took a long time, but where I am at now compared to where I was like 2 years ago, like, Jesus, like, I mean, he deserves credit. His friends deserve credit. I'm very indebted to the Algerian community and the Muslim community as a whole. And as a Jew myself, I just want to say, I think we need to learn more from others. I think we need to stop having this, whether you're Jewish, Christian, or Muslim, we need to stop having this us versus them mentality. We need to start exchanging ideas, having conversations, and realizing we have more in common than we realize, and not let others or outsiders or the media influence the narrative of what we think of our neighbors.
Yeah, we need to stop watching the damn news.
Yeah.
Right across the street. I love this. Right across the street is a multi-generational Muslim family. Mm-hmm. And they've got a few kids. But one of the boys in particular is about the same age as my youngest son. Mm-hmm. And they play together. My son doesn't speak his language. Little Mo doesn't speak much English, but they play and they have fun and they laugh. And I watched them a few weeks ago, and just like tears started rolling down my cheeks. I'm thinking, at what age do we become judgmental assholes? Because these 5-year-olds, they don't care.
No, they're
not even speaking the same language. But there's that argument that hate is a learned behavior. Hate is taught. when I watch those kids play outside, probably not the most responsible thing as a dad. When I watch those boys play out in the street, it's amazing. So you got Muslim boy, little Christian boy, no language similar, eat totally different foods, but give them a soccer ball, the universal language. Give them both Nerf guns or water guns, they're happy.
Give them a dogi, universal language.
Oh, my youngest started in the dojo this week.
Nice.
Oh, proud sensei dad eyes. Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Better be hard on him. I hope he knows he's not getting an easy path, because that's the thing too. What I love, the thing is what I love about parents who have their kids do, the ones who are the very good teachers are the ones that make it harder for them as well. There's no favoritism. It's no, you're just like everyone here in the dojo, but outside the dojo, you're my kid. But in here, you're just like everybody else.
Well, if any, because I've coached my oldest son in soccer for a few years. If anything, not that I'm harder, not that coaches need to be harder on their own kids, but I'm always trying to be aware of the perception that what I say or do might be taken as, oh, he's doing that because Fran is his son. That's a little softer than the way Sensei would talk to this student because Fran is his son. So it's not hard. I try to be very careful not to be harder on my kids, but even my 5-year-old knows when you come to karate, everybody knows that you're Sensei Bob's son. And so I think the expectation is more on the kids for him. In a lot of ways, he's just, he's another karate student in the dojo, but the kids are they expect this little 5-year-old boy to come in throwing hands like his dad, and to see him trip throwing a hook to the body is, it's kind of neat.
Awesome. That's really good, man. That's awesome. I love it. I guess, just want to say, Bob, I guess we'll end it here in the terms of in terms of start them young and make sure they pick up the values and tools that help them succeed and grow, not just in the dojo, but outside too, as human beings in all fields. I really want to thank you for coming on as a returnee. I love it when guests say, hey, you know what? I want to come back on again. Where can people connect with you in case, because, things are reopening and the floodgates are just about to erupt?
Yeah, man. So forgedojo.com. Or you can find me I'm on Instagram, probably too much.
Me too.
At Sensei Bob. I think I'm the only, I think there are other Sensei Bobs. I think I'm the only good looking one though. Yeah. Yeah. So from Instagram, Sensei Bob, my link tree is on there, and you can all the ways. Probably don't follow me on Twitter because I'm not active there, but just dropped a new series of t-shirts on the website, and I'm in conversations all the time on Instagram with people who just have random questions from random places, and just anybody who has questions that wants to improve, and I just want to help people grow.
Nice.
Whether
Awesome.
It's diet, nutrition, exercise, karate, Muay Thai, whatever. I just want to help people grow.
Let's do it. Awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for doing this. It was a pleasure to have you on again. And, the door is always open whenever you want to come back on.
Sweet. See you tomorrow.
Nice. Guys, make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow Bob and all the supporters we have, because we are raising the game. And as I said, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what organization you're from, just continue growing it and so forth. So stay tuned. Episode will be up hopefully by next week.
Sweet.